Snake. By D.H. Lawrence. Question and answers. Question 1. Why was the poet to wait? Answer. The poet had to wait at his water trough because already a snake was drinking water at the trough. Out of respect and for fear for the intruder, the poet was to wait. Question 2. Why does the poet accept that he was to wait? Answer. The poet could have shooed the snake away, but his education was so sublime that he considered the snake equal to him, a co-owner of the earth, and therefore he decided to wait. Question 3. What were the thoughts that lined up in the poet's mind on encountering a snake at his water trough? Answer. On encountering the snake at his water trough, the first reaction that the poet had was certainly fear, and then, when he recovered from the initial fear of the snake, the poet was able to balance fear against the voice of his education. Question 4. Where did the snake come from? Answer. The snake came from a fissure in the earth wall near the water trough. Question 5. Why is the snake entirely personified throughout the poem? Answer. The poet personifies the snake by addressing him with the same he, his and him because the poet was differently educated, that he considered the snake someone equal to him. Question 6. How does the poet describe the snake's movement? Answer. The poet describes the snake in vivid details. Its upper skin yellow-brown, below soft belly, the snake trailed softly to the water trough and rested his throat peacefully to drink water. Question 7. How did the snake drink the tap water? Answer. The snake drank water from the water trough without any fear of the poet's presence. Its mouth straight, its gums straight, the snake let water sip into his long body. Question 8. Who is the second comer? Answer. The poet was the second comer. Question 9. What is very special about the poet that makes him think that he was a second comer? Or what is the poet's worldview? Answer. The poet was different from most of the ordinary Sicilians. He was such a differently educated man that he thought and believed that he was a second comer to the water trough, even though it was his own water trough. He thought so because he considered that the snakes owned and ruled the earth before men removed forests for building his cities. He believed that man has to give way to snakes whenever they visit his house. Question 10. Why is the snake's lifting its head compared to that of cattle? Answer. While drinking water, cattle are not aware of their surroundings, nor are they worried about any possible threats. Cattle are found to be drinking peacefully. As the snake in the poem drank peacefully because it thought that the poet was a gentleman, differently educated, the snake too drank and lifted its head like cattle. Question 11. What could the snake have mused for a moment? Answer. The snake could have mused about the poet. It could have thought about his character, his education being different from the rest in Sicily, about the height of his virtues and more. It also could have thought of the poet being his host and even of talking to its friends of him, proudly. Question 12. Why is the snake said to have come from the burning bowels of the earth? Answer. The snake lived in a hole in the wall bordering the poet's house. It was July and it was Sicily, so the heat was extremely high, turning every inch of the island hot. Question 13. What does the poet convey with the mention of Etna smoking? Answer. Etna is a volcano in Sicily. It is an active volcano and the reference is indicative of the heat that Sicily experienced at this time and the thirst the poet and the snake were suffering. Question 14. Out of syllabus, Mount Etna. Answer. Mount Etna is Europe's highest and most active volcano. Towering above the city of Catania on the island of Sicily, it has been growing for about 500,000 years and is in the midst of a series of eruptions that began in 2001. It has experienced a variety of eruption styles, including violent explosions and voluminous lava flows. More than 25% of Sicily's population lives on Etna's slopes. Question 15. What does the poet mean by the voice of his education? Answer. By the voice of his education, the poet refers to the artificial conscience that he had developed with the help of education. Question 16. Why do people kill golden snakes in Sicily? Answer. In Sicily, people believe that golden snakes are venomous and therefore should be killed. Question 17. What is the reason why voices in the poet advised him to kill the snake? Answer. The poet had his own reasons and conscience to spare a snake, but he was ruled by a more powerful instinct, the instinct to kill. In Sicily, men are characterized by the courage to kill deadly snakes, and if a man didn't kill a snake, he is said to be a coward. Question 18. Why was the poet happy to have the snake in his garden? Answer. The poet was an educated man by his standards. His mind was so broad that he was of the opinion that a snake is Earth's prime owner and humans have brutally sent them to exile. To have the snake in his property was like being hospitable with an old king. By having the snake at his water trough, the poet was feeling like being honored by this king. He was glad also because he was able to think and act different from all the uncivilized Chicili. Question 19. Why was the poet glad that the snake would go without thanking him? Answer. The poet was already glad that the snake would not leave a gesture of gratitude for the water it drank and the hospitality he had been bestowed, because by not being thankful, the snake could confirm the poet's concepts and beliefs that snakes deserve respect, not. Question 20. Why was the poet not able to find the reason for his sparing the snake? Answer. Generally, people kill a snake, especially when it is spotted unexpectedly, because of fear that generates reflex energy and momentary courage. In Sicily, people had another reason to kill a golden snake: education. With so many reasons swarming his reasoning, the poet could not find an easy answer.
If you like the video, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe the channel for more videos. Thank you.